everyone, hey, it's Jen. I'm back today and I think it's time to make a card. So I have something in mind here and I'm going to hope that this comes together the way I have planned. So what I have here is a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 shimmery white cardstock. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pick up the shimmer of it in the camera, but it is shimmery. Oh, I think you can maybe see it there. Okay, so shimmery white cardstock. And then I have a piece of Pool Party cardstock that I went ahead and cut at an angle. So to do this, what I did was I started with a piece that was 3 inches wide, so 4 1/4 by 3. And I measured up on this side 3/4 of an inch, and then just cut it from that pencil mark to the tip, to the point up there. Made it really easy. So now I'm going to use this as my guide. So I want it to actually sit up here on my card, and I'm going to do my stamping above it. So I want it to sit up there, but I'm going to slide it down slightly and make my pencil mark so that my pencil mark, I don't have to worry about erasing it. So there I've created the pencil mark, and so I want, that's just my guide to know that I want my stamping to be above there. We are going to use today the Painted Petals stamp set. These all look like they're watercolored flowers and some polka dot embellishments, some stripe embellishments, but they look watercolored already. But I'm going to go one step further with it. I showed a card on my blog a couple, maybe a week ago or so, where I did this technique, and now I'm going to do it with some different colors. So here I've got Calypso Coral, and I've got some of the flowers from the set. And I am just going to randomly stamp these on my card. And again, you know what, if they go below that pencil line, it's not going to matter, simply because it's going to be covered up. Whoopsie, I need to do a better job of that. Let's see if I can line that back up real well. I think I can. Yep. So that's the nice thing about photopolymer stamps, is if you whiff it, you know what, you can usually line that back up pretty easily. And what I'm going to do here today, you know what, it's not going to matter either way. So I'm adding in the other floral image, a couple of different spots there. And let's tuck just part of one there. I think that maybe looks okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to clean this stamp, and I'm going to put one single one up here just a little bit. So let me clean that really quickly. Okay, so I have this really good and clean, and I'm just going to ink up one of those flowers and hope I don't hit the other flower with any ink. If I do, I'm just going to, just to be safe, wipe away the edge. I did, after I cleaned this, I stamped it on some scratch paper just to make sure it was really clean so that I didn't get the impression from the other flower up here in like a halo effect. Okay, so I have that done. Now I need to come in and stamp my leaves. For that, I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz ink. And I'm just going to, same thing, randomly stamp my leaves throughout the card. Let's see if I can squeeze the same image in one more time. I think that'll do. And I have some more leaf images that I'll throw in here. I don't know if I can get this one in anywhere else. Maybe parts of it there. Okay, and then I have the single leaf images. I went ahead and double mounted this, so there's one on each corner, opposite sides, just for time's sake. And the nice thing is you can still see through the black without any worries. Now I'll just flip it over and stamp the other leaf in here. And actually, I think this is looking pretty good. Okay, so I'm happy with the way this looks. But now is when the magic happens. So you want to be sure your hands are really good and clean. So if nothing else, wipe them with a baby wipe or something like that. But all I'm going to do here is I have a Stampin' Spritzer filled with water, just plain water. And I'm going to give this a couple of spritzes. And that should do it. I just want to get that that ink to start running just a little bit. I might give it one more squirt down here. Oops. You want to make sure you hit the paper. That's usually a key with this. If you don't hit the paper, it's not going to work very well. Okay, so that should get my ink colors to start running just a little bit. And I'm kind of tipping it, trying to get them to move a little bit. They don't move on this paper quite as well as they would on say, watercolor paper. On watercolor paper, they'd really, really run. You can see I must have a little ink on my finger, but I know that at least there it's going to get covered up. Okay, I'm going to give this another little spritz. There we go. We'll get that move it a little bit. And then you know what? I can come in with my heat tool and heat that up. Okay. I don't want it to move around too much. So I think I'm really pretty happy with it. It just bled a little bit, mostly right here in this area. If I want to make it bleed a little bit more, and I kind of do, so I'm going to try using my aqua painter and try and get this area here to bleed a little bit more. There we go. If I can saturate it just a little bit and get some of that color to move. What happens is the ink on this paper soaks in pretty fast and doesn't move as well as it would on watercolor paper. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. It's going to be good enough. So now I'm going to set that aside to dry just a minute and we'll be right back with it. Okay, so now this is pretty well dry. And now what I'm going to do is just add in a couple of flowers in another color. I just have this little bud. I'm going to put it on a smaller block quick. So I just have the flower bud and I'm going to stamp that in So Saffron. We'll just put that in random areas around just to add another touch of color. It's not going to be terribly noticeable, but maybe a little bit. And this one I'm not going to bleed out, so it will help that stand out just a little bit more than if I had washed it out initially also. Okay, so just a few. Actually, that looks really good. I'm really quite pleased with that. Okay. There we go. I better quit before I overdo it. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so let's give you a little bit better shot of that. There we go. So I've just added some yellow flower buds in there. You can see this really ran. I added a little bit more water there and heat it with my heat tool, and that's where you're going to get a real definition. And I'm actually okay with that. That doesn't bother me so much because it really gives it that watercolor effect. And I think it's quite charming. Okay, so now I'm going to finish this card off. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to a card base that's So Saffron, and it's the same size, so it's your 11 by 4 1/4 and just scored and folded in half. I'm going to use, because this is, you know, warped a little bit, we're going to use Fast Fuse to put this down. And I will be generous with my Fast Fuse because I don't want it to bubble back up. So you'll see that I'm going to use quite a bit of it. I'm okay with that. You know what? It's just adhesive. I'd rather have used a lot of adhesive on my card than have my card fall apart once it gets to the recipient's hands. Alright, so I'll put that on and I'm going to smush it. I'm just going to really press it down into that card base, and that will help it not warp so much. Okay, just like that. And you know what, the shimmer, I wish you guys could see that really well. The shimmer of it just makes it really, really pretty. Okay, now it's time to put on this pool party piece, and I'm going to pop this up to give it some dimension. So we'll grab our dimensionals here, and I'm actually going to use the edges. Since I have a long running edge, I want to really pop that up or get it stable. So I just snip the edges off and use it. That's one thing I love about Stampin' Dimensionals is you can use, oopsie, every single last little piece of these. They do not go to, nothing goes to waste. Perfect there. All right. Okay, I'll peel all these little paper backings off. Okay, that gave it some really good dimension. My pool party piece is a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to come in with my paper snips and trim that excess off of there. Okay, then we're going to finish this bottom off with a piece of washi tape, just to bring in that yellow from the top. We'll do like that, and I'm just going to trim that off. I could have put this on before I adhered down the front to the base, but that works just as well, just like that. Okay, now let's really finish this off. I'm going to put on a U that I've die cut in So Saffron. That is from the Hello You Thinlits, and I'm using a fine line applicator. This is I found this on Amazon. I had been using another one, but it would get clogged, and so I found this one on Amazon, and it's actually got a needle that goes into the nozzle, so it does not get clogged. I'm finding that I like this one quite a bit better, and I've just filled the bottle with some Tombow, the green lidded glue, Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue, and I can just dot this on. It doesn't come out nearly as fast, and because it doesn't clog, it doesn't come out in a big blob once in a while. My Tombow does that to me, probably to you also. So this I've just put on, hopefully you can see that, oops, just little teeny tiny dots, okay? And I did leave the top of the U open because, or the top of the Y, I didn't put any adhesive on there because I want it to stand up over the top of the card like that. Okay, perfect. Now we just need to stamp something on there. And I'm going to use the Crazy About You set that coordinates with the die, and I'm going to make it say, "You amaze me." I think it'll fit. It's going to be close. I'm just going to pick that up with my clear block, and I think I don't want that to be too bold, so I'm going to stamp that in basic gray. And I probably should have stamped this before I put down. I'm not thinking about that. You know what? That's fine. I have all these little scraps of paper. So I'm going to stamp it on here, and it's going to work. See? We just improvise. When things you don't think things through quite all the way, we just improvise. All right? But there we go. I think I'm going to like that better. And I'm going to trim this down just a hair more. We'll hope I cut straight. There we go. I have something stuck to my finger that's bothering me. There we go. That looks better to me anyway. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to add that to the back of the card with some more Stampin' Dimensionals. Like so. All right, there we have it. I created it, I kind of wung it, it all went together. Here's that fine line applicator again. You know what, I will put a link to this on my, down in the YouTube description, and I'll also put a link on my blog so that if that's something that interests you, you'll know where to get it. Anyway, there's today's card. I think it's really pretty. Would be a great, change this out, would be a perfect Mother's Day card. Full of flowers, bright and springy. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget that you can find links below to the products that I've used. They're down in the YouTube description. You can also find them listed on my blog, which is stamped-silly.com. Don't forget to look for me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course Pinterest. Again, thanks everyone so much for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.